What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back for the My Team Journey, episode number 16, but round 18 of this My Team Journey. We're getting towards the closing stages of this season. We have to find and source a sponsor for slot 1 and slot 2 on the secondary sponsors, so that's pretty cool to see. We're going to change some of those I guess goals to come in each week. Sunburst is a new sponsor, and of course we can't be getting rid of the corner cutting sponsor. That one will be a mainstay for as long as I am cutting corners. This sponsor is actively helping me be a better driver, and for them I thank them. Anyway, it is time for a new episode. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Leave a like if you have been enjoying this series, and subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't done so already. Every subscriber helps me out greatly, so thank you guys very much for that. What are we doing in the livery editor? What are we doing? We are taking on a new livery for this race, the Japanese Grand Prix. It's a special race. I like this racetrack. We are, of course, powered by Honda, and Honda originates from Japan. So they're wanting to increase their backing for this race, and we're going to run a special Honda Japanese-inspired livery with the flags or the nation's colors. So red and white it is, and it actually looks pretty sleek there with satin red. And I think we're running with just the normal gloss white. I think it really just makes the car pop a little bit. And we're going to change some of the sponsors because we've got new sponsors. But we just have to apply them again since we selected a new livery and got new sponsors in. So PSD, Sunburst getting splattered all over the car, as is Xenon Dynamics, our mainstay sponsor. And yeah, that's the livery. Just running it for the one race. Let me know if you like it. I do really like the lines. That kind of accentuate the holes in the engine cover. Yes, they are holes. They are not aerodynamic vents. They're not for cooling. It's just yeah, they're just there because they look cool. That's pretty much how it works here at Marduk Motorsport. But yeah, there we go. That's the livery for this race. Heading into this episode, guys, we only have 5 races to go for the end of this season. Sebastian Vettel in the last episode announced his retirement at the end of this Formula 1 season. The regulation changes are rumored to be impacting next season's car, so we've entirely stopped development to anticipate this, and hopefully by focusing on next year's car, we'll be able to really jump into the midfield of this grid. Maybe even be the top of the midfield if we really play our cards right. Every week we've been doing practice programs, getting discounts for future upgrades. The rumored R&D regulation change is supposed to be durability. Hopefully there's no performance departments affected. Otherwise we'll have to save up more resources to save those. But it's time for quali for the Japanese Grand Prix. Alright, so here we are for the Japanese Grand Prix, jumping straight into qualifying. I hope we've got some support from the home crowd this weekend as a bit of acknowledgement to everyone around here who supports Honda, Red Bull, AlphaTauri. We are, I guess, part of that family. We're part of that umbrella. Will we be part of it next year? Seems unlikely. But don't tell Honda that. They seem to be happy with us, and they're trying to make it up to us by giving us a big old wad of cash to change the livery in their honor for this weekend. So away we go for qualifying. Currently P18, make that P17 on our second run, ahead of both the Ferraris, who seemingly made mistakes on their opening run. I'm sure they'll sort it out and get themselves firmly into qualifying too. But the same can't be said for us. We are being left behind development-wise in this season of career mode. Particularly after the Italian Grand Prix, everyone just had a massive uptake in performance, and now we're kind of on our own, right at the back of the grid. As a homage to the old days of Williams, I'd say old days, just a couple of years ago for Williams, last year for Haas, And in 2022, it is Marduk Motorsport being handed the wooden spoon for outright car pace. 3/10 up as we approach the, not the Bermuda Triangle, the Casio Triangle. Final chicane of this Suzuka circuit. Hug the inside line for the minimum distance up to the line. And what is the position going to be? I don't think it's going to be Q2. We just simply didn't have the pace for that. We ended up in 19th place. 2/10 shy of Oscar Piastri, who this week finds his form once again. So that's another one notched up for qualifying for Oscar's side of the garage. He's been really good over one lap. His downside has been racecraft and race pace. So let's see if he can notch one up against me.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Okay, this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix, so let's give them a race worth watching.
And give them a race worth watching we shall. We're going to go quite aggressive on this one, see if we can make up a few places on the start. A few of you guys noticed or commented that I was quite aggressive at the start in Singapore, and that's simply because of the car that we have. We have to force overtakes on the opening lap. We have to get track position. If we don't have track position, we're simply going to get left behind. But maybe we don't need to be so aggressive looking at the tyre strategies. A lot of people starting on the soft, so potentially some two-stoppers coming our way for a lot of the AI. 5 red lights, and we can see the end of this season in sight now as we go up into green flag running. We can see Carlos Sainz starting behind us, actually giving a bit of a... What am I trying to say? Giving us a bit of a rub into turn 1. Collision with Carlos Sainz is the warning from the stewards. They've got a very eagle eye to be sending out that message to me only a matter of seconds after it actually happening. We've settled into P16 in this race. Our arch rival Sebastian Vettel and constructors rival Aston Martin just ahead of us. That's the dangling carrot that we are trying to grab in this race. Let's see if we can do so with maybe a cheeky dive bomb into the middle sector hairpin. We bottom out on the curb there on the outside, and that takes away all the momentum. Allows Carlos Sainz to go around the outside, but we are a little bit braver under brakes, and we get him back up the inside. He has the more flowing run on the racing line, has the inside for this little kink, and he takes P16 off of us in this Japanese Grand Prix. Latifi lining me up for a dive bomb potentially into Spoon Curve. Does not think about it. He's on the soft compound tyre as well, so this opening stanza of the race, guys, is going to be pretty rough. We've got some very fast drivers in much faster cars, some of which on faster tyres as well. So this is going to be a struggle. Let's see if we can settle into this race. Once the DRS gets enabled and we can open that rear wing, that's when the race will calm down a little bit, but we are not opting for calm as Sebastian Vettel has a massive lockup into the Casio Triangle, and that holds up Sainz, and we're able to get both of them in one foul swoop. But Carlos Sainz is, I'd imagine, going to make pretty quick work of me as he's lining me up around the outside into turn 1. I think he's turned off his battery there because he didn't opt to go fully round my outside on the straight. He's trying up the inside now into turns 1 and 2. But yeah, unable to make the move. He's being very cautious with us. And for good reason. We have come together a couple of times this season. Spa, I'm thinking of that one. I'm sure he got a bit of a telling off or a slap on the wrist by the stewards. And, well, we get our own back there at the hairpin. We push Sainz wide, unintentionally, a bit of a lock up there and a lot of understeer. And that's allowed Latifi to get both of us around the outside. Turns to the inside now for this next left-hander. Can we hold this position? This is really awkward. I don't know what to do. I don't know whether I should be fighting this. These guys are for position, yes, on circuit, but Sainz, we're not really racing him in this race. Vettel, we are racing on the same tyre. Latifi's on a different tyre, different strategy. In a similarly paced car, they are a bit faster than us Williams now. We go around the outside at 130R, and we just about managed to keep that without getting a track limits violation, so that was rather nice to see. But yeah, I'm really confused. I don't know what the best course of action is as Sainz is pulling into the pit lane, trying to get out of this dirty air. That is a very early stop. Maybe he's got a slight bit of front wing damage, and he's opting to change that. But we see the Aston Martin also came into the pit lane as well. But yeah, it's P15. That's a massive spin on the curb, and we've spun into the path of Latifi, who I think has lost his tyre. We've got a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision, which I could not do anything about, and we've been whacked with another 5-second severe collision penalty, and that's why car just simply bottomed out on the second Degner curve, or the first Degner actually, and I was just a passenger, completely gyrated around into the path of Nicholas Latifi. In fact, he went into me. Why am I getting the penalty for that? He's out of the Grand Prix. Yes, he served a bigger penalty, but he was the one who drove into me in the first place. I think the safety car has been deployed after all that. We've got a 10-second stop-go penalty to serve, which we are going to serve now. We've got no damage. Thankfully, no front wing damage, but crucially, no floor damage. If we had floor damage, I probably would have retired, to be honest. We
had an issue removing the left front wheel. I know it's not ideal, mate, but let's try and put it behind us and get back into this race.
Mate, it's fine. There's no pressure. We're last anyway, so it's all good. Slowest pit stop in the world, out of the way, and we're on to the hard compound tyres. If we didn't have the penalties, we wouldn't have needed to come into the pit lane, actually. But we're coming in again because we want to serve that second 5-second stop-go penalty. And unfortunately, we didn't have a second set of hards. We didn't have a second set of mediums either. So the mediums that are going on now are the tyres we started the race on. So essentially, we've done 2 pit stops and we're in the exact same position we kind of were before. Minus Latifi, minus my penalties, and minus 1 lap tyre wear that was done on the hards. Safety car, I believe, is coming in at the end of this lap. We have finally caught up to the queue. I actually could have maybe come in again. I feel like the field was waiting for me to catch up, so I could have maybe dived in again and gone back to the hards again, but I think that would have been taking the mickey there. Away we go for green flag running. We're on the medium compound tyre. A few people on softs around us. Don't know, in all that confusion of the spin with Latifi and the pit stops, whether anyone else has really made a stop under safety car. Either way, they're on softs and they won't be going to the end, so we can expect a lot of other people to be making their stops to get to the end. And I think the medium compound runners, those who are truly racing in this race, they didn't stop. So it's all to play for the rest of this race. My teammate, Oscar Piastri, getting muscled out a little bit by faster drivers at this point. Carlos Sainz gets him and Sebastian Vettel follows him through. We can also get bottomed out on that second curb on the left-hand side. That's something I noticed in qualifying, I believe. So, yeah, can't really use the curbs so much in Suzuka, not as much as you used to. Maybe I need to adjust the ride height to play around with that, but that is just the nature of these cars on this game. Bottoming out is a much more serious and common issue. So we just have to do our best to drive around it, really. Anyway, people are into the pit lane for their one and only stop. A lot of people onto hard compound tyres. Lewis Hamilton making a charge from my teammate, freshly out of the pit lane. And Oscar is actually doing really well. I kind of caught up to him there a few clips ago. And now you can see he's over 5...
Okay, stand by. We see a problem our end and we're looking into it.
Oh, problem. He's over 5 seconds up the road. So Oscar's really got some good pace as these tyres start to wear off. But it looks like we have a potential problem in this race. Hopefully, it's not terminal.
It looks critical. Find somewhere to retire as soon as possible. We can't risk you carrying on with this race, I'm afraid.
Right, I think I just jinxed myself. We are out of the Japanese Grand Prix at our engine supplier's home race. This is very telling. We're coming into the pit lane to retire. My teammate is into the pit lane as well. The hard compound tyres. This should be a pretty simple affair. Into the garage we go. And we're changing tyres. Oh, what happened? Why are you sending me back out? I've got an engine failure. Guys, what's happening? Oh, this engine is surely going to seize up now. We're going to lose this component. We've been sent back out with an engine failure. Guys, are you absolutely blind? We've gone back out on the hard compound tyres. The turbo has failed. And at Honda's home race, it is pure embarrassment. We're out of the Japanese Grand Prix. Is this thing ever gonna blow up? Because this has been the longest retirement, I think, of my life. Finally, we bring it to a stop. And we are out. Well done. Well done, Honda. Really happy we brought a special edition livery to this race. I think in F1, whenever you bring a special livery, it just ends in heartbreak. It ends in a curse. And, well, it is a non-finish for us. Lewis Hamilton, though, ends the drought. He gets his first victory in Formula 1 in 2022. So he can continue his winning streak of winning in every single year he's participated in F1. So that's nice. On his front, Mercedes looking ever potent. Potentially an outside chance for a driver's title. I think the constructors, Ferrari, are a long way ahead. But we'll get an update of the standings in just a second. Alpine, shout out to those guys. Double podium here in Japan. It seems like the Red Bulls and the Ferraris in this race fell apart.
So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship.
Well then, Ferrari are world champions in the Constructors. They take the team's championship with a pretty uneventful result there. A P7 for Charles Leclerc. It was also a bad day for Red Bull, P5 and P8, respectively. It was not a good day for the front runners. And Alpine able to capitalize with that double podium. And I tell you what, both of those guys are very close to Hamilton, so we could have very nearly got a win for Alpine in this very race. Oscar Piastri, P20, nothing really to write home about there. He did show good pace in the mid part of the race, but who knows what the hell gone on behind closed doors after we retired. So he ends up in P20. Hopefully he got some good experience there. There's no pressure on Oscar in this kind of scenario. I just hope that he's learning a lot and is ready and raring to go for Season 2 when we can make the car actually better for him.
Okay, I need your attention. The tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
All right then, time for the next race. We're not going to end on just half a Japanese Grand Prix. We're going to head into the US Grand Prix. And this is the Great Reset that is striking Marduk Motorsport, our career mode universe for Season 2. It is, well, just the durability department, which I am actually very happy with, by the way, because we are going to lose a grand total of 3 parts, all of which I have just managed to fix in that one sentence. So we are absolutely sorted. That cost us, what, 300 or 400 resource points? And we can crack on with the rest of the upgrades. Major engine power we can squeeze on for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but there's a 40% failure chance of that not making it. So that's actually quite risky. We're going to hold station for now. We're going to head into the next round of the championship, and maybe in the next episode of career mode, we can look at doing some upgrades. That major one may not go on time for this season, but we're not quite ready. We need to do some quality control upgrades because a 40% failure chance is a little bit too much in my books. We're in no rush anyway. Aston Martin don't seem to be putting too much pressure on us, so I think we're pretty safe. But I do want to get some upgrades on the car, or at least underway before the end of the season, so we can hit the ground running really in Season 2 and get more upgrade discounts on the way and just, you know, get the ball rolling. Anyway, that's qualifying for the US Grand Prix. In the end, it was very close between myself and Oscar heading into the final run, and then he didn't go out again, or he didn't get a lap in right at the end of the session when the track was at its best. I improved by over half a second and made that difference between the two of us look a lot larger than what it truly was. Again, left behind in the development race. Nothing really new there, but the reset is coming, and we are ready to tackle it. But first, US Grand Prix.
Welcome once again then to the United States Grand Prix here in the magnificent city of Austin. It was here in 2018 that Kimi Räikkönen delighted the world by taking the top step of the podium for the first time in 114 races. There's always a record to be broken, so what, I wonder, is in store for us here today? We're racing then today in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of this wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles per hour here today, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into Turn 1 and the long back straight into Turn 12. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Fernando Alonso, Charles Leclerc, and Vettel. Stroll, Norris, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo. Latifi, Russell, they've taken a grid penalty. Benjamin and Bottas. Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Alex Albon, and Yuki Tsunoda. Magnussen, Joe, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ocon and Mick Schumacher.
So then, it is P13 and P15 respectively for the Marduk Motorsport drivers after being plumb last in qualifying. I guess at this end of the season, the fact that we've taken our pain earlier with engine penalties means we can kind of flourish later on when all the front runners and championship runners are really kind of delaying the inevitable as late as they can. Now that Ferrari has won the Constructors, the Mercedes, the Red Bulls of the world can let their hair down and go ballistic a bit with the old budget cap, especially since it's been increased in real life for the second half of the season. We are raring to go. I don't sound like I'm raring to go, but we're raring to go for the US Grand Prix. It looks like a great start up until you get into 80 miles an hour, then we go backwards. Carlos Sainz coming up fast on us as we head into turn 1. We had to block the inside. Maybe that was a bit too aggressive from us as we head into turn 1. We managed to get a couple of places there. Bottas looking threatening as well. P13 still for us and P15 respectively for the two teammates as we head into the fast S's for the first of 28 times. Someone's got front wing damage down here, as you always come to expect. The AI do go a little bit too ham on the opening lap, and there's always someone getting in the way, holding everyone up, being so selfish, allowing the race leaders to absolutely run away in this race. I'm not complaining though, because it holds up these guys on faster tyres, faster cars than what we are in. We go around the outside of Nicholas Latifi though into this back straight, and even with the better drive, he's got the better drag, he's got the better engine, he's got the better everything at this point. Probably even lighter car as well. We try and delay the inevitable of him getting past us. We are able to go around the outside and get into P12. But for how long? It is not a question of if, but when he overtakes us, and when is now. As we make contact at turn 1, Latifi completely forgetting we exist there on the apex. Thankfully able to get the place back. But yeah, again, we're just kind of delaying the inevitable. This fighting is inviting my teammate into the fight. Again, that's a bit of a lock up there, carted wide. We were leaving a little bit of space and trying to get a better exit onto this back straight, but it doesn't seem to be helping as we're using a lot of battery to draw alongside. I realize it's a bit useless, so we tuck back into the slipstream, and we're going to go around the outside here into this 90-degree left, and it'll actually give us the inside for the next right-hander, and that will secure us the position for now. Unfortunately though, we have lost the slipstream, we have lost the DRS to the next group of cars. Gasly 3 seconds up the road, and that's the guys who are all contending for points. The place where we want to be. Absolute madness down there as Piastri was trying to defend from the other Williams and the front leading Williams. Latifi, would you believe? Giving up the position there as we head into the fast S's, and we're able to retain this position for now. Here comes my teammate. Here comes Latifi round the outside. He gets us. Is my teammate? Yes, he does go for a savage lunge. Latifi with a big lockup. As he's now having to fight off two Marduk Motorsport drivers. We're going to let Latifi get attacked by our teammate now. We opted to let Piastri go to see if he can have a go and maybe have better pace than us, and if so, Piastri can kind of drag us along with DRS in this race. There's almost no sense me being the lead driver in this train of cars if we're so slow in a straight line. best to let someone else lead the way who's slightly faster than us to give us DRS, bring on a DRS train, and then keep the really fast boys behind with relative ease. I'm looking at you, Zhou Guanyu. I'm looking at you, Alex Albon. Still got 24 laps to go to keep these guys behind. And now the DRS is starting to get enabled, and this is really going to open up the race. The Alfa Romeo driver gets past us. Albon will be next, I imagine. Then Schumacher with that Ferrari-powered Haas will have no problems getting past us. There goes Piastri trying to be the rear gunner for my teammate. And what does my teammate do? Goes and throws it away. This is why he's been none for none this season of actually beating me in races. He makes mistakes. He can't keep up a consistent pace. And for the most part, I guess he's struggled with overtakes. But that's such an easy mistake to make. Schoolboy error, some would say. But yeah, Piastri back to the drawing board. It won't be, a race victory between the teammates for him today. We'll say that much. Unless he's on a mad strategy or has incredible pace, which he does. He does have better pace than us in this race. I will say that. So pace is everything. Still a long way to go in this race. And if I engage in wheel-to-wheel combat like this, then I suppose anything's possible. This is Ocon trying to get past us. Podium contender from last race. Now fighting P16 and getting frustrated behind me. Must be rough. Oh, now he's out of the Grand Prix. He's got an engine failure. So if you're anywhere near a Marduk Motorsport driver, you know your day is going pretty shockingly. And that just makes it worse. Safety car is deployed. We're going to come in and into the lane at the end of this lap and get onto a set of hard compound tires, I think is the way. So in we go. Hard compound tires, no change of the wing, and a slow stop on the front left. That's going to cost us quite a few positions there as we stayed out one extra lap. The safety car missed the leaders the first time round, so I stayed out one extra lap. Piastri came in straight away for that safety car, and because of that slow stop and potentially making full use of being the first one to stop, he's managed to jump us. So all this talk about Piastri finishing behind me in this race, and now he's back in front. So we've got 17 laps to undo that as Carlos Sainz out of nowhere, before we're even back to green flag running, is up my inside and clattering into me in the last corner. Lights go out of the safety car and it pulls in. Maybe we were under green flag running, but no one else was really moving. Everyone was kind of in NPC mode, or bot mode. Apart from Carlos Sainz, he was the only one who was awake for that last corner sequence, and we squeeze him to the inside. Oh, and he's gone straight into the back of Yuki Tsunoda. Carlos Sainz surely is going to be out of the No, he's still got tyres. He's absolutely smashed into that AlphaTauri. We did give him a little bit of a squeeze, and that was just a little, oi, what are you doing, from the last corner. He could have given us damage, and, well, he might have been distracted by us. Either way, he was seeing red on that safety car restart, absolutely plummeted into turn one, and Schumacher has done the same. Only half a lap later, oh no, it's not Schumacher, it's Magnussen. Magnussen has gone straight into the back of Tsunoda as well. Tsunoda must be wondering what the hell's going on. Everyone's dive bombing, everyone's running into the back of him. Surely his rear diffuser is absolutely obliterated by now. We get up the inside of Magnussen, who has no front wing, and we demote Haas to last place in this Grand Prix. People are in for their hard compound tyres. That could be a strategy advantage for us for the remainder of this race. Potentially some points on the horizon then. If people didn't stop under that first safety car and are now stopping, we're on the fringes of the points here. Piastri's in P11, so anything's possible in this race. We see Gasly into the lane on his hard compound tyres, and away he goes. How is Tsunoda still in this race? Surely that amount of contact with two different drivers would be enough to really offset some of his pace. As Schumacher, this time it's Schumacher, he gets 3 positions into that hairpin. He gets me, he gets Tsunoda, and he gets Piastri in one foul swoop. And here's how he did it. I think Piastri went straight on a little bit. There's a lockup for Tsunoda. I was just in passive mode, not wanting to be a part of that. I could see the dive bomb coming, and I can't believe an AI has been that aggressive to get 3 in one go. I've never seen that before. So driver of the day has to go to Schumacher. He immediately throws it all away and goes back down to P14. Well, there's 15 seconds of fame if ever I saw it. Schumacher back down and losing all those positions he worked so hard to gain. That is, that's quite hilarious, actually. And a big lock-up again for a Marduk Motorsport car. Is that me or is that Piastri? I can't remember. I think that was Piastri. And that is Schumacher getting through on my teammate. Here comes Sergio Perez now out of nowhere. The clip's coming in thick and fast. He gets up the inside. Oh, and Perez goes straight on as well. So people are really struggling for brakes here. Maybe they're overheating a little bit in this Texas heat. But regardless, we've got Schumacher back on the attack on the back straight into P12. 13 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Yes, I'll try and win it back, but I'm not sure we have the pace to do so. We're just hanging on to the coattails of these guys, these faster drivers. My teammate is in once again. And there is not a hint of front wing damage on that car. Why is he in? I'll never know. It's P13 for us, and our day goes from bad to worse. We were looking, there was a glimmer of hope of points when Piastri was in P11 just a couple of laps ago. Perez goes up the inside. We do the under and over and get him straight back. He's going to have pretty potent battery usage here to get back in front. Still side by side as we hit into the S's. Oh, and he's made contact! He has damaged our front wing, and our chances of getting this points in this race are now down the drain. As we see on the replay, by the way, George Russell clattered into the side of us as well, so we're getting pinballed by all the drivers today. And they're in slow-mo. Russell just giving me a shoulder barge there. Absolutely lovely stuff. F1 is a non-contact sport, would you believe? But we got drivers out here behaving like it's rugby league or something. 10 laps to go. We're sticking it out here on our damaged wing just to see what the pace is like. It's a 1 minute 38.4. That's 6/10 shy of our actual personal best of the entire race. So all things considered, with that damage, we're actually not losing too much time. I did weigh up going into the pit lane, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I am locking up a little bit more on these tyres with the damaged wing, but I'm actually getting better and better at dealing with that the more laps that pass on in this race. We're burning off the fuel, and we may as well hold on to whatever track position we get, and that seems to be P15 at the moment. The laps are getting better. Now only 3/10 away from my personal best of the entire race. We come across the line on this lap, and we're only a 1/10.5 away from our best lap all race. So either I've not been driving to my full potential earlier on, or the damage isn't affecting us at all, as that's a pretty competitive lap time from me there. Anyway, Gasly absolutely parking it on the apex of turn 1. And speaking of parking, at this point, Oscar has got to be parking that car to retire. No, he hasn't. He's gone back out on a new set of soft compound tyres. Someone who is parking, though, is the Williams of Latifi. So, Latifi's out of this race. We have another safety car in this race, and that actually saves us. We're going to change the wing, change onto a set of soft compound tyres, and rejoin at the back of the queue and see if we can make a charge for the points. That seems to be our best hope. Our best hope of getting points in this race. A lot of people on old hard compound tyres. The pace disparity will be, well, 2 seconds between the hard and the soft. But we've got a very slow car. So in actual fact, we might only just be faster than those around us. So we'll give it our best shot. We're going to have warm tyres right from the outset. The guys on hards will take a little while to get their tyres warm. So let's make the most of that while we can, with the safety car coming in at the end of this 24th lap. Leclerc came in for a new set of tyres as well, so let's hopefully follow him through in this race. Actually, no, let's do what his teammate did and shortchange him at the last corner. Magnussen with a lockup, which kind of took away any momentum we got out of the final corner. Anyway, we're back to green flag running again. Leclerc coming up the inside into turn 1. Big old dive bomb. He gets 3 cars with that. And we follow him through to get Bottas as well. We take our warning for track limits. We're not getting a sponsor bonus today, it seems, as we follow Charles Leclerc through for P16. Who cares about sponsor bonuses when we've got a genuine shot at points in this race? Leclerc having a little bit of a moment through the S section. Loses a little bit of momentum, but as ever, with that front-running Ferrari pace and fresh soft compound tyres. I was going to say he was all over the back of Gasly, but then he Kind of bottled it. But here he comes again. Back past us once again. It seems it's a weird restart for Leclerc. It's one step forward, one step backwards. Now he gets his man of Pierre Gasly. We're going to try and follow him through. This is the 200 IQ strat here. Just let Leclerc do all the work, and we're going to pick up the scraps, really, as we go around the outside of Gasly. Turns to the inside for the next left-hander, and that is P15 for us now. He's catching up to, wow, George Russell, who's not having a good day, having to defend from Gasly with DRS on this start-finish straight. Or Russell gets hung out to dry a little bit by Leclerc there. Now we're running side by side with a Mercedes. The other Mercedes is leading this race, and we're fighting the other one in P14. George squeezing us onto the curb there. It's hard to see from the helicopter shot, but we literally got squeezed to the white line and very nearly got damage. I'm certain he's remembered me from earlier. I don't know what I've done to him recently, because he squeezed me and he barged me off earlier on in the race when we got squeezed out by Science or someone. And now again, he's given us absolutely no racing respect there. It's fine. We'll absolutely hit him up with a savage lunge into, oh my God, Leclerc again with another incident, and he's behind us once again. We don't need this in this race. We need Leclerc to be cracking on and setting up moves for us. And it seems like every 2 seconds we're having to wave out the white flag and let him go past us. It's letting these points runners get away in this race. And now George Russell is on the attack on the next group of cars. Leclerc attacking fresh air there, it seems. Nearly going up the inside of Yuki Tsunoda, who we were fighting before this safety car even came out. We're finally caught up to that group of cars, which we were in. But it's proving to be a little late in this race. We've only got 2 laps to go in this one, and Leclerc makes another mistake. Caught up behind Tsunoda, unsure of where he was going to go, gets out of the throttle completely, and we get back through. This is killing us in this race. Tsunoda is next. I've burned up a lot of battery to get up the inside. We'll get close to get up the inside at the end of that straight. P13, we have a car in between ourselves and Charles Leclerc. We're going to have to do this ourselves now in this race as we head on to the last lap of this US Grand Prix. It is Perez and Russell fighting side by side for no points at this rate. Someone's lost their wing. I think it might have been one of the Haas's. No, it's a Red Bull. It is a Red Bull. Guan Yu Zhou kind of brake checking Perez there, or Perez running into the back of him. Either way, it looks like we're a good chance of getting another couple of positions here. Russell held up behind Perez. We get up the inside of the Mercedes, and now we're only 2 spots away from a points finish in this race. Let's see what we can do. Perez with no front wing. He does have this next straight to get DRS and kind of pull away from us. Dare I say, even get Guan Yu Zhou on this last lap. Leclerc fighting away with Russell now. We're going to get DRS, and this will probably be our last chance to get the likes of Zhou Guan Yu. Perez actually looking for a move with no front wing. He actually gets his man. Guan Yu Zhou goes straight on with a lockup. We're going to get the inside of Guan Yu Zhou into the 3rd sector. And now, the only thing separating us from points is a Red Bull with no front wing. 3 corners to go in this race. Lewis Hamilton rounds the last corner, and he is going to win his 2nd race on the bounce in this career mode. Perhaps Mercedes have got some fighting spirit left in this season. Perez, with absolutely no front wing, is managing to keep us at bay somehow. And as we head into the last corner, it's going to be Sergio Perez with no front wing holding us off. How has he done that?
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
I can't believe that. I thought through that 3rd to last corner, he'd be nowhere or he'd make a pit stop. But somehow, after all that, we get no points.
That's it then for another magnificent United States Grand Prix. And they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
Boom. 2 wins for Lewis Hamilton, 2 podiums for Fernando Alonso. El Plan in full effect at the back end of this season. What a mad race, guys. That was all over the place. That was a literal roller coaster. 2 or 3 stops there for us. Oscar Piastri having at least 3 stops in that race. He was on soft compound tyres at the end there. We'll have to check on his status and see where he actually ended up. It wasn't points, of course, but so close yet so far for us. We were half a second away from getting points in a race in a car that was literally maybe a second slower than the next slowest car. We gave it everything in that race, and I've got to say, Charles Leclerc was the most annoying thing in the world. Every 2 seconds having to overtake that guy. He surely cost us a chance at points because we lost so much time squabbling, letting him go back through, then re-overtaking him. It was just a nightmare. P11, no points for us today. Aston Martin, by the way, got a massive haul of points today. They got 5th and 6th in this Grand Prix, and with that, they're going to get very, very close to us in the Constructors. In fact, maybe even overtake us in this race. Here's the look at the drivers' standings. 43 points for us. Mick Schumacher only 1 point away from overtaking us. I think it's going to be... well, we're not going to really have a chance of scoring many more points this season, so we're not going to move up any further in the drivers or the Constructors for that matter. Aston Martin only 4 points behind as we head into the last 4 races of this season. 4 races? Maybe it's 3 races now. We did do 2 races in this episode. We got Mexico, Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi to round out this season of career mode. It's all coming to an end. We've got the regulation changes. We've got a big slew of upgrades just around the corner. Maybe in the next episode, we will look at spending our resource points at upgrading our car and see if we can fight back at all. Maybe in the last race of this season. It depends on how quickly we can get the upgrades on, but that is got to be sending the alarm bells ringing now. The fact that Aston Martin are only 4 points behind us, I had written them off heading into this episode. So now, we've got to upgrade this car and make sure that the upgrades actually go on and hope, pray that they don't score points in the next 2 races. In Abu Dhabi, we might be able to fight back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you need to see plenty more racing game content. This is a crazy old season of career mode. This is turning out to be. Let me know where you think we'll finish in the Constructors. And I'll see you guys next time for the Mexican Grand Prix.